Welcome to our Level 3 study advice for studying during the novel coronavirus outbreak. First of all, I apologise if you're listening to me yet again. I know you thought you got rid of me after Level 2. I probably haunted you at Level 1 and Level 2 on financial reporting analysis. Reality is I still am. I wrote the behavioural finance and derivatives areas of your Level 3 study notes. Okay, so I'm going to blast through the first few slides. You've seen this information before. I'm going to go over it quickly because we're still fielding a lot of questions on this. We know the exams have been postponed, and we know CFA Institute are proposing two options, either a December 2020 or moving you into June 2021. Now, of course, December 2020, that would be based on the 2020 curriculum. June 2021, in fact, we don't even know whether that date of June is established yet, but 2021, we don't know whether we'll be studying with the new curriculum or the old 2020 curriculum. CFA Institute, of course, offering no refunds at the moment. All they're doing is deferring your exam sitting. Now, we're expecting to see more information from the CFA Institute on the 8th of May or before the 8th of May, and that should firm up about what's happening to the December sitting and what's happening to people wanting to defer into 2021. Impact on your Schweser products and Schweser studies. Well, of course, if you were a classroom-based learner, we're switching you from classroom-based tuition into the 15-week live online for the remaining parts of the course. 15-week live online is going to continue per schedule, and that will take us up to the end of April, early May. Any review courses, well, those are going to be pushed back into October and November time now. So that really gives us the period from May up until October, which we need to fill. Now, you might notice that your Schweser LMS, the e-learning system, says expiry in June 2020. Of course, we'll be extending that through to December 2020. And if you're going to defer into 2021, we'll be accommodating you there as well. Okay, so how will it affect your studies? As we said, we suggest that you continue your studies during the tuition phase. This is the phase where you're gaining the technical knowledge, and that's due to finish April, May on that 15-week online program. What are you going to do from that point onwards? Well, I certainly think you can afford to take a break. You can slow down the pace of your studies. So rather than looking at 15 hours per week, we can drop down to maybe 5-7 hours. The actual amount of studies you'll need per week rather depends on where you are with your studies at the current point in time. But of course, you need to be planning to ramp that back up in the fall. So when we swing round to late September, October, November, then of course increasing the hours. We're also going to produce 9 online masterclasses. These are live masterclasses available to all Schweser candidates, but also available to the public as well, to try and provide you with some structure for your studies from this period from June through to October. Now, one thing I would say is if you haven't watched the How to Pass Level 3 video yet, it's well worth watching. Now, the How to Pass Level 3 video in particular details massively what the Institute is actually looking for in the constructive response paper, i.e. the morning exam. And of course, this is where Level 3 candidates traditionally underperform. So I really recommend you watch that. It's with Stuart Jackaman. He does a fabulous job. I apologise, it's another Brit. You're getting invaded by Brits at the moment, but it's really, really worth watching. Take some popcorn when you watch this because it runs in at about 1 hour, 40 minutes, but it's got some fabulous tips there. Where can you find this How to Pass Level 3 video? Well, it is available on YouTube just by typing in Schweser and searching on YouTube. If you're a current Schweser customer, you can also find it by clicking on your study tools, going to the study column and looking in the resource library. So the resource library contains How to Pass Level 3. There are 2 other videos there on constructed response questions. It's also got a lot of past exam papers issued by the CFA Institute, so the morning papers that they've released from 2010 to 2018. In particular, what I would say is when you look at that, make sure that you look at our guide on what parts of those examinations are still valid. Danger, of course, is when you look at old past papers, some of the syllabus may have changed, and there's a guide in there as well for you. So remember, you can find that in the resource library. Okay, so here's our brief timeline here. So as we said, April through to May, we're just going to finish off that 15-week live online classes. Make sure you get the knowledge in place. May to June is either a rest period or catch up depending on where you are with your studies. From June through to October, we're running those bi-weekly online masterclasses, so one dropping with you every 2 weeks, available both to Schweser candidates and of course the public as well. Then October through to the exam date, that's when the review courses will be running. So let's look at each phase in turn. So March to April, you're finishing the 15-week live online program, you're reviewing the Schweser study notes, you're looking at module videos. Okay, now of course, remember you can go back as well and review the archives of the 15-week live online course, which is available to anyone attending our classroom courses. Take your module quizzes, take your topic assessments. So in other words, complete your studies as per normal, March up until April. Now come May, whether you're going to need to study in May or not rather depends on where you are with your studies at the current point in time. Some candidates will be fairly advanced with their studies, some candidates know that they've fallen behind the curve, and of course you've just got yourself a big break, you've got extra time now to catch up. So use the time in May to catch up if you are seriously behind. Now June through to end of September, so June to October really, that's when we're running our bi-weekly masterclasses. There's 9 of those in total. Now what they're going to do is they assume that you've actually studied the material. They don't assume you can recall it all. And I would say as well, you don't need to worry about total recall of the syllabus until we get into those final months of review in September, October, November. Up until this stage, we're worried about technical understanding. So what these masterclasses are going to do is they assume that you've looked at the material, so you're aware of it. They're going to refresh you on that material and then apply it to exam standard questions. So it's really giving you a flavour of how our review courses run. And at the end of each class, we've got a Q&A session allowing you to ask our team questions. So here is the schedule of masterclasses, and we'll drop dates with you very, very soon. So our first masterclass will be on constructed response, the so-called essay part of the level 3 paper. This causes candidates a huge amount of trouble. Why? Because they don't know what the CFA Institute is actually looking for. Reality is that the Institute gives you a case, it asks you a question, you then need to apply the CFA curriculum to answering that question. What actually happens, of course, is people don't focus on being specific to the question. They just try and tell the examiner everything they know about the topic. No, you get no marks for that whatsoever. You need to be specific to answering the actual question asked. So we're going to take you through that in Masterclass 1 and a bit of Masterclass 2. Remember, if you want to get a head start on that, I highly recommend that Level 3, How to Pass a Level 3 exam video that you can find on YouTube or in the LMS. Masterclass 2, Behavioural Finance, and then into Masterclass 3, Capital Market Expectations and Asset Allocation. Now, once you've hit those topics, you'll be in a position to take Checkpoint Exam number 1 if you're a Schweser customer, and you'll find the Checkpoint Exam number 1 is on our LMS. The Checkpoint exams are essentially a mock exam divided into 3 separate parts, so it's exam standard questions and well worth doing. Okay, so after doing the Checkpoint Exam number 1, you should have an idea of your strengths and weaknesses on the topics previously discussed. Then, of course, next masterclass is derivatives, so we do derivatives, currency, fixed income, and then essentially equity and alts. After that, Masterclass 6, you can take Checkpoint Exam 2. Then Masterclasses 7, 8, and 9, working on our private wealth, institutional, and then trading, performance evaluation and manager selection. After that, Checkpoint Exam 3. So what do you need to do between June and September other than the masterclasses? Well, once you've taken the masterclasses, see how you do on the Checkpoint exams, and if you're seeing weaknesses, of course, then that's telling you to go back and revisit the material. But remember, you can slow the pace of your studies now. You're never going to be doing 15 hours per week. You're going to burn yourself out come December if you're still trying to cram in 15 hours per week. So slow your pace of studies. How much? Well, I don't know. How well prepared are you now? Okay. If you feel you're very well prepared, you're scoring over 70% on module tests, on topic tests, on checkpoint exams, hey, well then you can really afford to relax the amount of study. and really just focus on doing a lot of question practice so you don't lose your retention. If essentially you've got big knowledge gaps, well, catch up if you're behind. This is your time to revisit your troublesome topic areas. And of course, you can do that by revisiting the Schweser notes, watching the module videos, or watching the archives of the 15-week online classes. I often get asked what's the difference between the module videos and the 15-week online classes. Well, the module videos are the video version of the Schweser notes. So they use the same examples in the Schweser notes, for example. So if you're in the Schweser notes and you're finding something difficult, then have a look at the module videos. You'll see the same thing explained with the same examples. If you're looking for new examples, then that's where you can find them on the 15-week online classes. So these don't cover all learning outcome statements, but they do use new examples. Now, as well, I think you've got time to look at the CFA Institute end of chapter questions now. If you haven't looked at those before, look at their blue box examples and any morning papers that the CFA Institute have released. And remember, you can find those morning papers and a guide to what is relevant, what is not, in essentially the resource library on your LMS at level 3. Okay, so yeah, again, we're just trying to focus you on question practice. It's shown to be the most efficient thing you can do to aid retention and develop understanding. So make sure you keep hammering away at questions, module quizzes, topic assessment, checkpoint exams. If those are showing up weaknesses, i.e. you're scoring less than 70% on certain readings, then use Schweser Pro. Customize Schweser Pro to test your specific weak points to try and improve. And remember, of course, you've always got access to your instructors over this period using the instructor link on the LMS. Now, we've said do not use your practice exams over this stage. Yeah, well, maybe you want to be looking at one practice exam, and I'll talk about that later. But the majority of your practice exams and mock exams, leave them to the review phase. You're going to need them at that point to get exam ready, to practice your exam technique and to monitor your performance up to, hopefully, that magic 70%, which is going to guarantee us a pass. So late September, and I'm not so sure it has to be late September when you do this. It depends on how prepared you feel. If you feel you've covered all the material and you've got a good understanding, then take your first practice exam. Doesn't have to be September, it can be a little bit earlier than this. Now, you're using your first practice exam purely as a diagnostic tool. What you're trying to find out is where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses. You're not that really worried about have I scored over 70%. Now, of course, debriefing as important as doing the exam itself. So go back over all questions you got wrong and all questions that you got lucky with your guesses. Okay. Now, if you understand the answers when you read them, fabulous. All you need is more question practice, so use Schweser Pro. If when you're looking at answers, you're not really understanding those answers, that of course is flagging a technical weakness. Go back and use the Schweser notes, the module videos, etc. And we're going to be providing video debriefs for Practice Exam Volume 1 that we'll put on the LMS over the next few months. October, November, so assuming the December exams go ahead, this is when the review phase will kick off. And I know some of you may be enrolled on classroom-based courses, some of you may be enrolled on online courses. We are trying to reschedule the classroom courses, but of course, the practicality of this depends on can we find venues and can we find the tutors essentially available to do this. If we can, of course, we'll run. If not, we'll certainly have the online versions available to you. There is, of course, at level 3 an essay writing workshop, and this focuses on constructive response. Now, you've got your 4 practice exams, or maybe only 3 if you used one as a diagnostic tool. You're going to use these to benchmark your progress, in particular, how close to 70% you are getting. And I've already said the importance of debriefing. Now, if you run out of your practice exams, don't forget there are 2 Schweser mocks that can be purchased, complete with video debrief, so that takes you up to 6 exams. And of course, there's the CFA Institute mock exam that we strongly recommend that you do, as well as those past AM papers sitting in the resource library. Now, just be aware with the Schweser mock exam, the CFA Institute mock exams, they are not written by the exam writing team, they're written by the syllabus team. However, they do tell us that they do recycle some old exam questions within them, so I definitely think it's worthwhile doing. Major concerns you may still have. Well, will I be able to study for the next level for June 2021? Not an issue for you level 3 guys. If you're successful, you are done and dusted. I'm worried about forgetting what I already know. Well, if you are a candidate that's already fairly prepared, you feel that you're on top of the syllabus, keep that knowledge together by question practice. Keep building your self-tests in Schweser Pro on the topic areas that you've covered to retain that knowledge and to refresh that knowledge. Will we extend the life of your online products? Absolutely. We're extending immediately till December 2020. Some of you may defer into 2021, in which case we will cover you off. I've also had questions, what happens if the syllabus changes? Well, we will provide you with ebooks that cover the new syllabus, if that is the case. How will Schweser support my studies? Don't forget you can contact us at any point via instructor link, and of course we're looking forward to see you in those 9 live masterclasses. Well, this is a good one that I've got a few times. Will the extra time to study affect pass rates? Well, we would think it would. It should push the pass rates up. Because if you look in the CFA Institute's material, they say they test a consistent level of competency between years. So if you've now got more time to study, you should be more competent by the time that level 3 exam rolls through. And of course, if you're more competent, you should have a better chance of passing. Where does the CFA Institute tell us this? Well, you can see there you go in that document, CFA Program Theory Meets Practice, and I've given you the link there. You can see them explicitly stating the level of competence should be consistent from one exam sitting to the next. Good luck with your studies, keep in touch with your tutors, and of course, stay safe.